Hello to all the Atlanta United fans. My name is Jurgen Damm, and you are watching Scarves and Spike, an Atlanta United podcast.
Welcome to Scars and Spikes. Sydney, Tyler, Tommy, Henry, a full house with you as Atlanta United return home to take out NYCFC in the first of 3 home matches at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Guys, they're finally home. I feel like it's been a while since they've been at the Benz, but they're coming back.
2 weeks, a whole 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Been a while.
Just an appetizer for the summer away series that we're going to have.
Yay.
6 matches away from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Fantastic. I was doing some research, guys. I was doing a little research. I was looking at teams that have been in the top 4 over the past number of seasons in the Eastern Conference and how many wins they got at home. I was doing some napkin math for research. I was going to do an article about it, but we may as well talk about it here. You guess how many Miami had last season? How many home wins Miami had in 2024? It's off the top of your head.
18.
Felt like it did it. Henry,
15.
Tommy.
13.
11. So let me go through the top 4 of the East. Wins at home. Miami 11, Columbus 10, Cincinnati and Orlando with 7 apiece, which surprised me when I saw it. And then Charlotte, NYCFC with 9 and 10 respectively. So helps to win your home matches. Cincinnati had 13 home wins, by the way, guys, in 2023. The year they won the Shield. Helps to win your home matches. And you got 3 coming up against opponents of varying difficulty. NYCFC, FC Dallas, and the Revs. We'll talk about that and a lot more. As Kyndra de St. Aubin from MLS Season Pass joins us later on in the show. But we do have some news. Justin Muyimba is hurt with an LCL or MCL? LCL. So out, 3 weeks? About 3 weeks?
Yeah,
so,
3 weeks is 3 weeks seems a little
optimistic.
Yeah, very optimistic for me, but I'm not a doctor, so
none of us are, so you're in good company. Unless Henry and Tommy, are you guys doctors, by the way?
No, not yet. I still haven't gotten my degree there.
You still got a ways to go.
Yeah.
Tommy, are you a doctor?
I dressed up for one on Halloween a couple of years ago. Didn't work out too well. I had the little Jello shots, they were actual shots.
Ah,
that's the life of the party that day.
I see. I'm sure you were. But no. So for Muyimba's right calf, right LCL, of course, went off in the 41st minute against FC Cincinnati on Saturday. So I guess let's get right into it. We talked about it a little bit Sunday night. We didn't know about the extent of Muyimba's injury at that time, but how do we kind of cope with it, I guess?
I just got to say really quick, 3 weeks is for him to get carted off the field. 3 weeks makes me actually feel a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, when you find out what happened to him, it does seem optimistic for 3 weeks, but him getting carted off the field, I'm like, he did his ACL or something. You just don't see the stretcher actually get used that often.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's the timing though. It's bad. I mean, you have 3 straight matches at home. Granted, if Cleek were healthy, it'll be him and Sleesh in the midfield. But that's a depth issue now you have without Muyimba, and we've talked about it. He was kind of finding his form after sort of a rough start to the season, kind of getting his legs, no pun intended, underneath him, and now he's hurt and on the shelf for the next 3 weeks. When you have again 3 opponents at home: NYCFC, FC Dallas, the Revs coming up. So obviously, you hope that Cleek is healthy, and you can start with him in Sleesh. But then behind, of course, you have Jay Fortune. I feel pretty good about that. Will Riley had a good shift on Saturday, so I feel pretty good about him. So maybe it's not as bad as it seems at this point. But unfortunately for Tristan, again, the way he had been playing in recent weeks, this is sort of bad timing for him. And I feel like the club, it could have been worse, Tyler. Like you said, it could have been a lot worse given the ACL, but it could have been much worse than that. So you kind of got away with it from a fortunate standpoint.
It's just terrible timing for the entire. Yeah. Just when you see a guy that you had last season, where it was like, oh, if they get rid of him, it's not that big of a deal.
He sucks.
Yeah, it completely regressed from the year before, and he gets an opportunity, and all of a sudden the stock is going way up. And you're like, all right, this is great. We got depth. Yeah. He's obviously beaten out Fortune for the position, and maybe that's not the right word for it, but Fortune started one, and then Miyamba was the guy.
Yeah,
he was the one continuing to start, and for whatever reason, he believed that he was the guy that should get the most minutes, and it was like, okay. And we were all saying, like, what great performances he'd been having. Nobody had anything bad to say about him, and then he goes down. And when we were at the game on Saturday, my buddy was just like, Miyamba, best guy in this team. I absolutely love him. And then he goes down, and he just looked at me. He was like, "I hate this team. I hate this team so much. I hate it. Why do I come to these games?"
Your friend. Good shot by your friend.
He's like, "Why? Well,
don't say anything about Latte Lot."
Well, he got me
quiet.
Yeah,
he got me into Manchester United, and I got him into Atlanta United, and it's all been pretty much downhill since each other's teams.
Right.
But yeah, you feel bad for him.
Yeah.
But hopefully he comes back and everyone else stays healthy. And you've got this 3-game homestand, and you got to get as many points. And we actually asked that. We asked our fans about that, and and the listeners, and they said, like, it was pretty close in both of we had a Discord poll that said it was 50-50 on what, we asked how many points is Atlanta going to come away in these 3 home games. It was 0, and luckily one person picked 0 points. I know that was a Revs fan. That had to be a Revs fan that did that.
Yeah.
1% said 0. 1 to 3 points was 11%. 46% was 4 to 6 points, and 7 to 9 points was 42%.
Wait, well, it's kind of funny because you can't get 8 points from 3 matches, so I kind of had a chuckle at that.
It's in between.
No, I get it.
It might be in between, but it's impossible.
8 technically is between 7 and 9.
Technically, you're right.
I'm not going to add
it's an impossibility to get 8 points through 3 matches, unless something has changed in the rules.
I'm done.
But no.
Welcome to Scars and Spikes.
No, Tommy, come back.
Bye, Tommy.
Speaking of points,
putting a poll up again.
Love you, Tommy.
I have an interesting stat going back to what you said a minute ago that ties in.
I don't care.
Nobody cares, Tommy. Get it.
Tommy, get out of here. Get lost.
Surprised your AirPods even reached that far. You know how many points the 2018? I'm sorry, how many games the 2018 team won at home?
Home games? Was it 11 or 12 or 13? I looked and saw it earlier.
Like you were just like, well, it
was 11, 12, 13, 14.
Why don't you just put the 11-13 in there?
It was 8. No, I'm kidding.
0 to 20.
Right.
It was 11 with a plus 23 goal differential. But guess how many games they won away?
I don't remember because I remember that season. Like, they stunk against Houston to start the season. They stunk against TFC to end the regular season. And they end up winning MLS Cup. So go figure.
They still won 10 games away from home with a plus 3 goal differential. They lost 5 and drew 2.
Yeah, and the 2 of the losses again were pretty bad losses.
Pretty rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I was at both of them.
I think
I was the problem.
Like Brian had mentioned earlier, like, right now it seems like the mentality of the entire team isn't quite enough. Kung Fu said shoot for 20 points in 3 games. To hell with that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think when they get the mentality right, yeah, you're definitely looking at a top 4 team, but you've got to stop the mental mistakes that keep happening, right? Like you saw some really good things in this last one, like the Cayman Togashi heads up throw in. Simple, fundamental. I'm going to say fundamental multiple times tonight. Fundamental soccer. But it's that kind of mentality of just like doing the small things right. If the whole
All the
team
small
can kind of get
things.
on board with that and keep it together for a full 90 minutes, then you're absolutely looking at a top 4 team.
We're going to do a fundamental counter. Right now, you're at 1.
All right, 1.
On the fundamental counter.
My goal is 10 by the end of the day.
I have a better counter that I'm ready for. The Rooted in the Stripes documentary comes out tonight.
Oh boy!
How many times Ronnie drops the F-bomb?
We'll
we got like what 3 times in that trailer clip thing.
Trailer.
Okay, so hold on. I want to ask you guys because I've been hearing a lot of chatter, a lot of dialogue. People saying like, "Oh, it's the same as Pineda. It's the same as last season." Do you guys? Because I see that, and honestly, I don't really think I saw Pineda at that level until things were getting bad last season. This is Ronnie Dyla's 5th game in charge, 5th competitive game in charge. Actually, I think this one was shot after the Red Bulls game, if I'm not mistaken.
After Red Bulls or Miami?
Okay, so that's what, 3rd competitive game in charge?
Yeah.
And he's already bringing the heat. What do you guys think about this kind of idea that it's the same as previous seasons?
It's not. It's not. Like, the players need to take ownership. I mean, Dyla can't get out there and score goals. Dyla can't make passes. Dyla can't make saves. Dyla can't score. I mean, that's not his job. His job is to put the players in the position to win. I would say largely, and we'll get to what you wrote, Henry, about Moranchuk and what Joe from 5 Strike Final wrote about, Moranchuk and sort of the solution. But I'd say largely he needs to put the team in a position to succeed because, you have the situation where Moranchuk isn't giving what you want from a number 10. So maybe this kind of dovetails into what you wrote, maybe moving Moranchuk to the 6, moving Almiron to the 10, and going with a different person at that right side on the wing, maybe Saba at that right wing, and then whoever on the left. Mosquera, it's going to have to be either Mosquera or Silva, of course. Maybe Mosquera at this point, but maybe Silva. So what does that look like for Atlanta United? Does Ronnie Dyla have the wherewithal to make that change because, guys, it's the same sort of as Frank de Boer, right? 2019, which seems like ages ago. That's before COVID. He had to make a change. He had to get off his preferred tactics and really make a change to move this team forward, and it worked largely. They won a trophy, won U.S. Open Cup. Dyla's kind of at that same, I want to say crossroads because it's early. He's kind of at the same juncture, I think.
2 trophies.
Well, 2 trophies, including the American Family Juniors Cup, of course. Can't forget that. No. Campiones Cup.
I was about to say, one of those actually matters.
Yeah, forget the Campiones Cup.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But you guys see what I'm saying, right? Like sort of the parallels to some extent.
I mean, I don't think Pineda, where he was at the time and where Dyla is at right now, or even, I don't even think this is a conversation that needs to be had. Like, it's not even close. I think Ronnie Dyla is a guy that demands much more of his team than Gonzalo Pineda ever did. And that's full respect to Pineda. But I think Ronnie Dyla is not okay with pissing away the season and at least not trying to get the most out of his players.
Well, neither was Pineda, but
Pineda was, but I think he handled it way slower than he should have.
Absolutely.
So Dyla, I mean, I think it's absolutely acceptable for the head coach at halftime or after a game, if you had a poor performance and you blew a lead or whatever, to go into the locker room and throw things and cuss a little bit, like get pissed off, because your freaking players need to know, like, this is not acceptable in any way. And it took Gonzalo Pineda, that we saw right publicly, a long time to get there. Now, that's not to say, you'd be crazy to think Pineda never had those kind of, moments before, but we've seen this in Dyla at training. We've seen it in post-match press conferences. Even when things go well, he's not afraid to call out the things that didn't go well. He'll praise too. That it's just a totally different mindset. So, no, I mean, I think it's just a little bit of maybe a better leadership style, because all the crap that's happening is up here. It's completely up here.
Yeah.
And it's not being turned on for 90 minutes. And that has been a problem that goes back to Pineda too. It's got to get worked out. And the only way you're going to get it worked out is not by giving them, cherries and lollipops at the end of the game. It's by, cussing somebody out sometimes.
You got to figure out why, though. I mean, even if you're cussing somebody out, I mean, that doesn't automatically change things, but you got to figure out why it's not happening. Why are we still having these discussions 5 games into 2025, still saying the same stuff that we saw in 2024, same stuff we saw in 2023? When are players going to take ownership and wake up, essentially, and stop making stupid mistakes on the pitch and get to a point where they're playing cohesively? I feel like part of that is chemistry, but not all of it, especially the attack is chemistry. But some of these guys have been here for a couple of years now, and we're still seeing the same thing over and over again. So Dyla can cuss, throw the eggs in the locker room all he wants, but again, it's on the players to take ownership. Derek Williams and Brad Guzan should be crossed up on a late goal against Inter Miami. I mean, that's really inexcusable, and credit to Derek for taking ownership, but I mean, that can't happen. They're both professionals who've been playing football for ages. I mean, it can't happen. Why does it keep happening? I don't know.
And here, I'll say something real quick. I never saw Pineda, and I've been covering Atlanta's training sessions for I want to say the better part of 1.5, 2 years, and that was most of Pineda's time here. I never once saw Pineda on the training field. The player makes a mistake and he goes and he makes sure they know they made a mistake, and he's like, okay, that was that a good pass? No. Why wasn't it a good pass? And he makes sure, and he calls them out. Yeah. And he makes sure that they learn. And I think it's part of changing that mentality on an individual level. Every player needs to know, okay, I need to make several decisions when I'm on the field, right? I need to be able to make them fast, and I need to make sure I'm making the right ones. And I think he's trying to adjust a little bit that decision-making process, because like we've said, the past few seasons, that hasn't really been going well. And so I think he's fine-tuning that. That's not something that changes night and day. That's something that takes a while to I was going to say the F word, the fundamental word, but
that's 2 now.
But to change that at a base level for all these players, it takes a minute, and so it's slow, it's frustrating, but I think it's something that needs to happen, and it's something that I didn't see before with Pineda. And again, I really liked Pineda as a person. This is no disrespect to him. I just think the way Ronnie Dyla is doing things now is going to lead to better results in a more longer term.
Hopefully sooner rather than later, right?
Hopefully, and we'll get into that in a sec, but yeah, hopefully sooner.
I wonder when that whole swearing thing went down, what game that was. I was trying to look at clues there to see which game.
That's what we were just saying. Was it after Miami? I guess after Miami.
I don't know. Maybe it was the Red Bulls game.
I know it was in Montreal.
There were still some mistakes there at half. There was still sloppy in that game.
Yeah,
I know you don't get that mad about a win, but still there was a lot of sloppiness in that game.
You don't get that mad about a win unless you're Bill Belichick or Nick Saban or Kirby Smart. But yeah, really in the stripes. We saw the teaser on social media. Of course, Ronnie Dyla upset about something, and sure we'll find out what it was, what match it was. Tommy, to your question, when it is released, and by the time you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on your favorite podcast, or whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or iHeart, and hint, subscribe.
iHeartRadio still exists?
It does.
Oh, wow. I'll be damned.
But if you're listening to this, it most likely will be out. But
probably in 10 minutes, honestly.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah, definitely 10 minutes from now, as we're recording this podcast.
Don't leave us, though. Don't leave us.
Yeah,
Stay
don't
with
leave
us.
it. Stay with us, please, until
We'll
we're
still
done.
be there as soon as we're done.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Henry, I want to get back into sort of moving Moranchuk to, more of a deeper midfield role and maybe to number 10. And yeah, we kind of discussed that. Joe kind of pushed back on it. And, Go Fall 5-Star Final, they did a terrific job, Sam and Joe and Rob. But I want to kind of give you a chance to respond. Not to say that Joe hammered you. He didn't. He was very cordial, as he typically is. But kind of make your case again for Moranchuk to be deeper in the midfield versus where he is right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I took a look at his article, and well, at least he didn't name drop me, as he did with another very well known MLS analyst. But
is he in an armchair, by the way?
He's in some sort of chair for sure.
Is it an
Yeah.
armchair?
It might rhyme with Dat Moyle.
Dat Moyle.
But anyway, basically, from what I see, what he's saying, when I was doing the research for my article, I also was surprised by the stats of it all. And there's a statistic that not a lot of people know about. It's called goals added. And in a very broad sense, and I explained this a little bit in the article, but basically, it's a measure of how each touch that a player makes impacts their team's ability to either their chances to concede or to score a goal. Right. In other words, how much value does each of that player's touches give your team? And they divide it into a bunch of different, you have intercepts, you have passes, shots, 6 different categories that it all considers. And Moranchuk was actually 8th among MLS attacking midfielders. So he wasn't actually as bad as we thought he was, or as I thought he was. And that surprised me. But if you take a look at the deeper stats and you look at some of those categories, his goals added by passes is very, very low for an attacking midfielder. It's 0.07.
Right.
Compared that to like Lucho Acosta, I think it was like 0.45. Mihailovic was like 0.5 something. Basically, it was much smaller than other ones.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, part of that is also the receiving end, because when you send a pass, someone's got to receive it. And if someone doesn't receive it, then that pass doesn't really mean much. And it might not even be your fault. It might just be that the other person miscontrolled. It might be that, like it was the case in one of the games where Moranchuk tried to play Latte in, and then he ended up making a run the other way, and that was unfortunate. Basically, part of that is his fault, part of that isn't his fault. I still think between Moranchuk and Almiron, between the two of them, I still think Almiron is a more creative number 10. And that's why I advocate more for him going into that role. Moranchuk in the Cincinnati game. Yeah. And the reason I'm proposing this Moranchuk moving back is because he had to do that in the Cincinnati game when Muyumba came out. And then Dyla decided to shift the team into like a 4-4-2 with Moranchuk and Riley as kind of, the two midfield. And Moranchuk actually did a good job. He actually, there were several examples, and I put this in the article, of him pinging long balls forward that could help the team, him switching the play, which is exactly what Ronnie Dyla's system wants to do. And I look at that and I say, man, that can add so much value with the full team. I just think he would work very well in that position. Is it the long-term solution for this attack clicking? I don't know.
Right.
It could be. I'm just saying, like, if things don't change for Atlanta, I think they have to make some sort of adjustment, because this team, the talent that this team has is too good for it to not be better than it is right now.
Yeah, and just counterpoint to that, and we'll get Kyndra in here shortly to get her thoughts. She'll be calling the match with Tyler Terrence on Saturday on MLS Season Pass. I mean, he's too valuable. I think I disagree with Joe in the extent that he's not. I agree with Joe that Moranchuk is not the main problem, but where I kind of differ from him, and again, he wrote an excellent article on Fight Strike Final. Where I kind of differ is, for how much you paid to bring him over and how much he's getting paid. I think he's too important, or he's making too much money to do essentially what accounts to really nothing in the attack. I mean, he's going to be judged on his statistics, and right now the biggest statistic is 0 goals, 0 assists in 2025. And rightly or wrongly, guys, he's a 8 million or 8-figure player, low 8-figure player, making the most money among MLS or Atlanta United players. So the targets can be on his back big time, and so far he has not lived up to it. So Henry, maybe it takes moving him deeper, moving Miggy to the 10. Maybe it does take something like that. But again, it's on Dyla to make that decision and, hey, do what's best for the team rather than stay with what he thinks will work in the long term. Because you don't want a stubborn coach that's unwilling to be flexible to help the team out.
You know who else has a lot of insight on that?
Yes. Before you do that, scarsandspecks.com. That's where you can find Henry's article as well as all our other articles about Atlanta United, news, analysis, opinion. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, share our content. And again, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, subscribe, and get our audio content. Definitely appreciate it. Kyndra
Welcome
de
back,
St. Aubin.
iHeartRadio. Welcome back.
Yes, absolutely. It's been around, but yeah, welcome back to Tommy. Kyndra de St. Aubin, friend of the show, has been on several times, and we're glad to have her back on. She's, again, calling the match with Tyler Terrence on Saturday on MLS Season Pass. Kyndra, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing good. Welcome back. Good to have
Thanks
you
for
back.
having me. I appreciate it. Always
How
excited
is-
to come to Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. How's the weather in Minnesota in March, late March?
Balmy today. I think it was like 55. The sun was
Yeah.
out. It's cloudy now, but I can't complain. There's no snow on the ground. I don't
Right.
think there's a blizzard in sight, so I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was expecting you to be on the way to soccer practice today.
Yes, that was. I was texting with our man Kirk Reynolds, and life happens and things get discombobulated. My daughter's had play practice and then trying to get to soccer, so trying to maneuver the pieces all at the same time. But you're right, I was supposed to be like driving or sitting in a parking lot or something, but soccer is next on the docket. So, and she practices up where Minnesota United trains, so I feel like the young kids always get a kick out of that. So
Yeah, that's cool. Hopefully a former NWSL player in the making, or former U.S. Women's National Team player in the making in the next 10, 20 years or so.
Yes. She's spoiled with how much she gets to watch. So I'm sure that'll be on her agenda.
No, absolutely. So, Kyndra, let's get right into it. Atlanta United versus NYCFC on Saturday. Of course, Ronnie Dyla facing the team he won MLS Cup with several years ago. Based on what you've seen from Atlanta United through the first 5 matches here with the attack, with all the different moving parts of the club, I think everyone can agree things have not been up to expectations, up to par for Atlanta. In your eyes, what's been the main issue from what you've seen from this club?
Well, I think it's a tricky one because especially when you bring in such quality attacking pieces and you just have quality players in general, and I heard you guys hitting on that a little bit, that the expectations are that this is going to be firing on all cylinders right from the get-go. Well, we also know that soccer is one of those sports when you have 11 guys on the field, it's going to take a little time to get that chemistry. And it is such a free-flowing sport. When people ask me what I love the most about soccer, it's that fact, is that it's free-flowing. They're not set plays. There's not timeouts. You can't, get all together and get the huddle and then map it all out, and then that next play happens. This is like, these guys have to find that chemistry. It's about timing. It's about who's going to make the run where at what time and where does each guy want the ball and what's the best place to put each player. So I would be disappointed if I was an Atlanta United fan that there aren't more goals and there isn't more success yet, even though we're only 5 games in, and also because the dollar amount that has been spent. And you bring a guy in like Chris Henderson, the expectations go up exponentially even more on top of it. So disappointed, especially after that opening day. I mean, like, are you kidding me? 65,000 fans, the energy in that stadium. And I watched the game as much as I could live and then rewatched it as well. And the goal scorers were doing their thing. Miguel Almiron is back in the mix. I mean, these are all things that should get people excited, and rightfully so. But what's the last thing fans want to say is give it a little time, be patient. You know, I mean, nobody wants to hear that. So it's going to be a tough balance for Ronnie Dyla.
Is there any, I guess, particular, and I know we're kind of going fast here because I know you got to roll. Coming into this one, because I think, I know we're probably beating a dead horse a little bit with the,
that's what we do in media.
That is what we do, for sure.
That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. I guess in this one, now that the international break is over, going into it's the Dyla Derby. Is there any particular matchup that you're looking at amongst the maybe positions?
Well, and it's interesting that you say that, because we always assume that everybody comes back from their international duty healthy, which doesn't always happen. Or exactly, or the amount of travel. What is the energy and the miles on the body? I mean, I remember when I covered Minnesota United, always listening to Michael Boxall travel from all four corners of the world, and then like the next day be playing in a game. So not only do they need to come back fit and healthy, but they need to be ready to play in a match. I do think, though, when you look at this NYC team, is that what we're calling them now? I got to make sure I'm calling them the right thing, because I know
New York City, NYC.
New York City, yes, exactly. And I like that you termed it the Dyla Derby. That's a good one. But I do think when you look at this matchup in particular, and it's all going to be won in the wide spaces to me. You've got your star players that we can argue about where Moranchuk's best position is. You can argue about Almiron and what he can do. Does he sit underneath as, a secondary number 10 or a false 9? And he can drive forward with the ball with so much pace. But at the end of the day, that's why I think the wide spaces are going to be most dangerous. And when I saw that Brooks Lennon was back and healthy, and I mean, faster than I think anyone expected from a dislocated shoulder, which was supposed to be 4 to 6 months, or at least 4 months to my knowledge. I think that's where this game is going to be won for Atlanta United. And you can take advantage of that in the wide areas, because the middle is going to be so occupied. And that's where New York City is going to focus all of their attention, and rightfully so, on this Atlanta United side. So again, the bread and butter, Brooks Lennon, getting in that wide space, cutting inside if he needs to, or serving it. And then when you've got a player like Schleich in there, and you've got, I don't know, is Saba going to play? Is he not going to play? If everybody comes back healthy, does he fall out of the, where does he fit in this mix? It's hard to take him off the field, but when you have so many good people, and we saw what he did against Cincinnati on the right-hand side. So if I was Ronnie Dyla, and I'm not going to, put my manager hat on, and I'm definitely not wearing all black. I know he likes the black look. He's still stuck in that New York vibe.
Johnny Cash.
And everything.
Yeah, Johnny Cash. That's a big stretch going Johnny Cash. But yes, I think I would win this game in the wide areas and try to just capitalize on some of your wingers or your outside backs that are going to push forward. And maybe the attention they attract opens up the space in the middle for your guys, and that service inside the box as well. So that's what I would look at for the matchup with New York City.
Now, Kyndra, you hinted at it a little bit. The question marks surrounding Moranchuk and that number 10 position. It's been 5 games and 0 goal contributions from him so far. There's a little bit of a debate. What do you do with Moranchuk? Is he the right guy at the 10? Should Miguel Almiron take the 10? What do you think about Moranchuk and where he should be on the field for Atlanta?
I think, first of all, he may not find himself on the field if his goal contributions or lack thereof continue. It's hard to justify staying on the field just because of how much money you cost. That just can't fly for so long, because at the same time, or how much money you paid for him to get him in. So I think if Saba Lobjanidze continues to play, and now, of course, you got the injury to Mayumba, which I know that's not the same position we're talking about here, but I think that Moranchuk has a very short leash to prove his worth to be in the starting 11, because he was here last year. These other guys, and I know Almiron was here before, but he's a completely different guy, just a person, a human being, from his experiences and how old he is now, coming back into Atlanta now. So if I was Ronnie Dyla, I would say, Moranchuk, you've got a certain amount of time to contribute to this team. Otherwise, if these other guys continue to perform and quite possibly outperform you, then you're going to find yourself coming off the bench. And what a super sub. My goodness. Might be the most expensive super sub in the history of mankind. But also, I don't always look at just the stats from goal contributions. I understand that is what we can go to, and that's what we can reference. But to me, it's, everything that he does in and around the ball. Is he losing the ball? Is his pass progressions? Is he dribbling forward with pace? Is he drawing attention? And if he's not doing any of those things, aside from not showing up on the score sheet, then I think that's where Ronnie Deila is really going to have a hard conversation with him, or just say that this is not working in this way. And that's also why you get paid the big bucks, right? As a coach, is to figure out these things, is to figure out these first world problems of having so much talent, but somebody's underperforming. So that's how I would look at Moranchuk. That's what I would expect to see from him. I think even at the end of last year, people were maybe a little disappointed that he didn't come on with a bang. And now you're into your first full season. You've had a preseason. You've had an opportunity. You're familiar with the city. I know it's a new coach, and I know there's new players there. But ultimately, I think the leash is much shorter for Moranchuk than it is for anybody else. And I like Miguel Almiron, where he could just go where he needs to go to be effective. That to me is how, I would put my team around him, much like we do so many 10s in this league. You have the freedom to roam. They have to find you. Almada was a little bit that way, right? When we talked about Gonzalo Pineda, talking about how he wanted to use Thiago Almada, is let him kind of float and find the game. Luciano Acosta, very similar when he was with Cincinnati, let him go and find the game, and it's everybody else's responsibility to sort of build off of him. That's how I picture Almiron in this lineup.
You mentioned it, 65,000 people to start the season. The fans were excited, especially after the Miami series. The fans are down now. They've been down basically since that game. 3-game homestand. It starts here. How important is it for these 3 games for Atlanta United going forward?
Well, and these are all, this league is built on parity, but these are 3 winnable games for Atlanta United for this roster. And that's nothing against their opponents, but you're at home. You've got that quality. Everybody's back from international break. This to me has to be 9 points for Atlanta United, unless there's some earth-shattering thing that we didn't foresee with an injury, an absence, some reason why one of your best players or most important players isn't available. To me, this should be 9 points. That should be the expectation of these 3 home games for Atlanta United and their fan base coming out of this homestand. You have got to capitalize on this moment. And that's what I would focus on. And I know that no one's going to say that within Atlanta United. I don't think. I don't know that anyone would come out that strong. But that's what I would go with. I would go with, this has to be 9 points. These are 3 winnable games. We have got to find a way. We are going to be 6, 7, and 8 games into the season of playing together. Yes, these guys missed 1 game for the international break, but that's not much. And you've got too much talent on this team. That would be the expectation if I was Atlanta United. And that's what I would go on to the pregame show and say, this is what Atlanta United fans should expect from this group in this homestand.
Well, we will see on Saturday. First up, NYCFC, and then FC Dallas, and after that, the New England Revolution. You and Tyler Terrace will be on the call on Saturday, so be looking to seeing you, Tyler and I, at the beds. And well, actually, Tyler will be there. Henry and I look forward to seeing you at the beds. You and Tyler. But
you're going to be missing the ice cream. Who misses ice cream?
I know, my one obligatory miss of a home game of the year. It just
well, you get ice cream every time, but yeah, I'll tell you what, I brought my daughter to a few games in different stadiums, and Charlotte had ice cream, and it was like the highlight of the trip. So I'm not bringing her to Atlanta, but next time I can bring her to Atlanta, I will, and we'll get ice cream in the press box.
They put right next to the ice cream machine this really nice coffee machine, and I'm waiting for it to actually open up, because that is the really good one. That you can get a latte, you can get the frothed milk and all that, but it wasn't working last time.
Hey, you know what? In Seattle, they actually have a barista in the press box.
Yeah, that checks.
So, that might be the next standard for Garth Lagerway and Henderson.
We'll see.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm sorry for cutting you short. I would love to sit on here and talk. I'm like you guys. We could just sit around and talk soccer for the next couple hours, and everybody else might drown us out, but we might just still be talking. That's kind of the way it goes. We like to hear ourselves talk about the sport that we love.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. We appreciate you coming back on. Always a pleasure to have you. And look forward to your call on Saturday.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Kyndra.
Take care.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
9 points.
Kyndra.
Yeah, absolutely. She says 9 points.
Kudos.
9 points.
I agree with her.
Yeah.
Should we talk about that now?
That's the standard you have to have.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Tyler, what happened last time she was on?
Well, there was a little bit of hairless Tommy going on.
She
was
joined
that after the shave?
She joined in the car at soccer practice while I was shaving everything off.
The
Literally
shave
in
of
the middle
24.
of running a razor down the side of his face.
We almost did another.
Is it fate that we need to do this again?
Yeah.
I was gonna say we should have done another bet. We found out she was coming on.
It's not too late.
Yeah.
How many do you bet your
I wouldn't have bet on the
getting
Cincinnati
9
game.
points?
I would never have made a bet on an international break game except betting Latte Lath first goal.
Right.
That was the other thing that I would have done.
Yeah. But Tyler, you said that should be the standard. Is she wrong? Like,
no.
NYCFC, I mean, they're good but not great. FC Dallas have a terrible start to the season, and New England is New England. I mean, I feel like if you don't get 9 points out of this, it reflects very poorly on who you are as a team and who you want to be as a team. I feel like these are two sides in NYCFC, and not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but certainly NYC looking to somewhat find their identity under Pascal Janssen. Dallas, same way under Eric Quill, trying to find its identity as well. And then New England, I mean, could be on a new coach by the time you get to Atlanta if things continue to trend in the direction that they've been trending in. So is it 9 points or bust? I would say yes. I would say absolutely it's 9 points or bust. You can't afford to continue to drop points at home like you did against Red Bulls, like you did certainly against Miami, because this will go back to bite you later on in the season when we, again, have the Club World Cup, and you're on the road for 6 matches. Got to get points at home. No excuses. This team used to do that. Used to walk into the bends and be like, there's no way this team loses this match. Now you're like, maybe they win, maybe they lose. That's not a good feeling. Got to take care of business in front of your own fans.
So you're saying there's no way that they lose this game?
I mean, I'm not saying there's no way they lose this game.
Would you bet your facial hair on it?
I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. But guys,
I mean, someone might need to man up here and say that.
Won't be Henry.
Well, Henry,
I don't really have much to lose, to be fair.
No, but again,
feel free, Tommy.
Screw it. Let's do it. 3 points or bust.
9 points or bust.
9 points or bust.
Now that's a bet. No, I think he's just talking about the first game.
Oh, you're talking about NYC. You're talking about NYC.
If I explained to Tina, so I made this bet, but Atlanta has to win 3 games in a row. I'm already sleeping on the couch.
You're looking for apartments.
Are you doing it? Are you doing it?
I'm not shaving my head, Bruno. That's to a point where absolutely never, ever, 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 ever I will do that.
So are you doing your beard if they lose or don't win? If they don't win? Yes, no?
Is it the win or just or is it lose?
What do you think?
I don't know. The draw thing, we should just move it to the Okay. Here's what we'll do. Here's what we'll do this. If there's a draw, it moves to the next game. If there's a draw, it moves to the next game throughout there. So if they win, if they beat New York, it's over. It's over.
That's off.
It's done.
Yeah.
I don't shave anything. If it's a draw, then we move it the rules.
Double it and give it to the next person.
Dallas.
To the Dallas game. And then if that's a draw, oh my God, that's a draw. Then Everybody's gonna be so depressed about this team.
They won't care.
I don't know if anybody will even be here to see it happen. So that's what we'll do. Just
okay,
don't
it's
tell
on
Tina.
record.
Don't
It's
tell
on
Tina.
record.
I'm going to be at a
You
concert
heard it
on
here first.
Saturday.
Yeah.
I'll tell her after the game whether it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, and Bruno's talking about the 8 points again. Shut up.
Well, hold on.
If you get 8 points, then you have to shave everything.
Yeah. No,
How
but
do you know I'm not
Tommy.
shaved everywhere else?
well, let's leave that topic.
He brought it up, not me. Don't yell at me. He brought it up. You have to look
I know you did. I know. But guys, I mean, seriously, from a aspect of how this season will progress, I mean, you can't clinch a playoff spot after the first 8 matches of the season, but you can certainly play yourself out of a playoff spot within the first 8 matches of the season. And I think that where this team is right now, this is a very critical stretch of games for Atlanta United. Like, you have to win at home, plain and simple. I mean, no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Just get it done. Get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like Kyndra said, these are 3 winnable games for Atlanta, and they're all at home, and you have most of your starters available. I think it's do or die time. And you get 9 points, you're right back in the thick of it at this point in the season. Better yet, though, 3 wins in a row. When's the last time Atlanta got 3 wins in a row? Actually, I haven't checked. But a win streak can help this team build that momentum and take it on, because then you go on the road to Philadelphia and Orlando, 2 teams who are actually pretty decent right now. Philadelphia's, I think, first in the East, might be first in the standings. I don't even remember, but that's going to be a tough road game. And then Orlando's also a decent team. So if you can get the 9 points from this stretch and carry that momentum into those next road games, that might be what this team needs to jumpstart the season, to build that confidence and kind of get some of that winning mentality back and help them accelerate that a little bit more. Unlock the attack, know that you have kind of trust yourself to win these games. I think that's going to be the important part of these 3 games.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing is mentality and confidence. I think more than anything, because now you see, hey, you can do it. We can do this. Like, we can win games at home. We can go on winning streaks at home. We can string wins together. Win at home. Let Philadelphia, let Orlando, what happens there, take care of itself. Because at least, and you'll hate to lose those matches anyway, but at least you'll have some margin, a little margin of error where, if you go into the stretch with 1 point or maybe 3 points out of the possible 9, you're, again, like I said before, you're doing the soccer equivalent of gripping the stick too tight. Like, you're double thinking, overthinking every pass. You're second guessing every move you make. And confidence is the big thing. And Tyler, you said it earlier. Much of the game is mental. More than results, more than goals, more than stats. It's a mental game. And if you're coming into a match with low confidence, I mean, look at Montreal, winless. They just fired their coach. If you're a team that is coming into a match with little or no confidence, the goal just looks minuscule versus when you're on fire and when you're playing confidently. That goal looks like it's taking up the entire end of the stadium. Yeah. So confidence definitely is a big thing.
I'll play devil's advocate, and I'm only playing devil's advocate because I agree with everything y'all are saying. They got to win these games. Like, it really should be 9 points, period. And then you need to go get something on the road too. But you can't work yourself out of the playoffs this early. Again, devil's advocate. I'm not trying to advocate for sucky soccer. But with Major League Soccer having what they have with the playoff format, you can suck well past where Atlanta is right now and make the playoff.
I know, but you don't want to, though.
No, you don't want to. I mean, I'll give you guys an example just to prove that I'm not making this up. 2023, Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah.
They did not win a game out of their first 10. It took until May for them to win a game. They had 3 points in the first week of May, and they still finished well-ish. I mean, they didn't do great, but they still made it to the playoffs.
Is that what Sporting Kansas City this year is holding out for another
Probably.
Montreal fans are holding out for it. I'm sure Reds fans are holding out for something like that too. But no, I see what you're saying, and yes, if you lose every one of these matches, that doesn't mean you're missing the playoffs. But why even risk putting yourself in a bad position when you get out of the when you get out of this home stretch? What is a second optimal situation for Atlanta United if they don't get all 9 points?
7. Not 8.
Yeah.
You need at least 6.
At least
I'm going to
6.
unzoom myself now. I saw a pro-rel message in here.
Don't lose to the Revs. Just don't lose to the Revs.
I don't care how it's 6 points. I really don't.
Save Caleb Porter's job.
Right.
You need at least minimum is 6 points out of. I don't care how it comes. 6 points.
Who do you get those 6 points against?
I don't care. I don't care what it is. I don't care the combination.
Pick 2.
I don't care the combination of how it works out. If it's 5 or less. I was doing the math just to make sure that some comes in. It's just like,
we'll be 8. They cannot get 8. They will not get 8
wait a minute. Tommy, you need a math here real quick so the math police don't come at you.
13 points.
4 is the number you're looking for. Either 4 or 6.
Yeah.
Wait, what? You get 3 points in.
Wait, 5 is possible. Yeah.
It is. I mean, but I don't think that's what you're trying to say. No, because you're
fake math.
No, because you're like, well, we got to win at least 2. The only way you get 6 is by winning 2.
Whatever.
So.
Whatever. I was like, wait a minute. Did they change the rules?
Yeah. At least not to my event, not to my knowledge.
I don't like doing these math hurdles. Just win all 3.
That would be great.
That makes it easy.
9 points.
Yeah. That makes it easy.
You got to win the fans back. That's really just the thing. You have to win the fans back. You got them back in November, and they stood with you, even though you saw the tweets. When is Garth going to sign someone? When are they going to start cooking? When's Henderson cooking?
Lost the fans though.
I'm sorry?
Lost a few. I don't think they've lost the fans though. It's not like 2020.
I understand.
They
that.
will if things don't turn around soon.
Yeah, they will if things don't turn around soon. But I don't think they're at that point.
A lot of the goodwill, the momentum that the fans had, and they were excited after opening day. Absolutely on some of these performances.
Yeah.
And you think of the home games that you've had. You've had 3. You had the Red Bulls game, 0-0 draw. You should have won it. You should have won that game. You had the opportunities. And then you lose the game against Miami, your rival. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Miami is our rival now. There's no one else. It's Miami is our rival. It's a top 3 rivalry in MLS right now, and you lose it in the last minute or so.
Yeah,
it's disappointing. And you're seeing the tweets, same old Atlanta United. This is, and people have PTSD. It's a real thing in sports. Yeah. If the Falcons are up by 40 points, they're going to lose.
40 points with 1 minute left in the fourth.
Absolutely. Any Atlanta team that's up by 10. Oh, here comes the post.
Or the Buffalo Bills.
Every Falcons game that they blew, a 20-point lead. That's what happens. The fans have PTSD, and it's starting to blend in. That's why this game against New York FC is so big. Start getting people in there, man. You should be so proud of me. You guys have been talking about gripping sticks hard, sucking, and all this, and I have not made one joke. I'm so proud of myself.
Yes,
Just
well
stop
done.
trying to set me up.
Done.
We almost made it to 8.
You got to get them back. You got to give them a reason to come against. You got to get a reason. Damn it! You got to give a reason to attend Mercedes-Benz Stadium in 2 weeks.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Against the non-rival of Dallas. Nobody cares about Dallas. Nobody cares about Dallas. Nobody cares about the New England Revolution. The only thing that they care about New England anymore are the Bill Belichick and his girlfriend pictures on the beach. That's the only thing they care about New England these days.
We've got off the chain.
The Ronnie Bowl, you've got to go. This is the climax of your season. You got to win this. You got to finish the game. You have to finish the game. Finish. Not the country. Not the country. We got to come together.
We were
to get this team standing tall. That's what we got to do.
Boy, you went for all of them, didn't you? Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna disengage myself from this conversation.
Sponsor us, OnlyFans.
Oh God.
I'm trying to pivot off this.
How do you pivot off of that, Sydney?
I don't know. Just someone give a prediction.
Okay, let's get into predictions.
Someone give a prediction.
Tyler.
What?
Predictions, go.
2-1 Atlanta. Yay.
Sydney.
Henry. I'll go. 2-1. I wrote down 2-1 NYCFC in the notes. I meant 2-1 Atlanta. I think they win this one. Again, NYCFC is a team. Still trying to find their identity. And under Pascal Janssen, I don't think they're quite there yet, but I think, again, they're a decent team, but not a great team, and very winnable for Atlanta United. So 2-1 for me.
2-1 Atlanta, to be clear. Or 2-1 NYCFC.
2-1 Atlanta.
2-1 Atlanta.
2-1 Atlanta.
Tommy.
When you talk about New York FC, you are talking about a small field, whatever. And from what I've read, they play on this little tiny thing. What I've read on Bathroom Walls is smaller is not better. You are going to the bigger field, and the bigger is better. And Atlanta United is winning 2-1.
All right.
I've
read it on Bathroom Walls.
My turn.
I thought I read already. Henry.
I'm going to say 2-1 Atlanta also. Wow, we all said 2-1.
We also 2-1 Atlanta.
I just think look, NYCFC has been relatively solid defensively to start the season, so I think it will be challenging, but Atlanta being at home, riding, the momentum from the crowd, and I think they have the motivation that they need to. Okay, really? I already lost my train of thought.
Welcome to Scarves and Spikes on a Wednesday.
Gosh darn it.
There's no Tommy on an MLS Monday to distract you.
Gray said 3-2 Atlanta. Jackson has not given his prediction yet, but we'll have it soon.
I'm changing to Jack. You all did 2-1. No, that's not enough. 3-1 Atlanta. Okay. I'm going with Bruno. I'm going with Jack. Omar says 4-2 New York FC. Get out of here. I know he's doing his reverse powers that he has here.
No. Isn't it an Alexi Marinchuk hat trick? As Bruno said.
Now that's where
that?
That will break the internet.
Look, I make some dumb bets on occasion, but I'll do it.
3-1.
I'll bet $1. I'll bet $1 on an Alexi hat trick, and if it is, all the money goes to the Patreon fund.
So, quick question, because we don't have legal betting down here. Could you go on an app and actually bet that for like, or does it have to be like a set thing that's already in the list of things that you can bet on in that game?
You could I mean, they pretty much have almost everything in most games there.
Yeah.
If you were to bet $1 and this were to happen, what would you win?
Okay, well,
I want to
you
know.
guys go. Yeah, I'll pull it up right now.
I'm curious.
For just $1?
For
Just
$1?
betting $1?
Well,
Yeah,
we'll
$1.
tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you the odds.
Derek
on
said
there.
2-0, by the way.
Really quick, Jackson just put it in the chat. 2-0 Atlanta is his
2-0
prediction.
Atlanta.
Hey,
Okay.
clean sheet. I like it. Nobody
There you
gets
go.
the clean sheet except
I
for
know.
him and Derek.
Well, and Jackson's first in the standings right now, so maybe he's cooking.
Wow.
He's also killing it in the fantasy league.
Yeah.
I have a head-to-head with him this weekend.
Yeah.
So. Oh boy,
That should be fun.
A $1 bet. A $1 bet for a hat trick would win you $100.
$100. Are you doing it?
I mean, I'll bet $1 on it.
Okay. You lose $1 if it doesn't happen.
I'd bet $10 on that, man.
Screw it. I just won $150. That's cool. Sweet.
High roller Tommy here. Anything else, guys?
Man, look
Anything
at
else
Colonel. He's like, man, y'all are all wrong.
For
4-0.
Atlanta.
Let's go, Colonel.
Hopefully. We'll see.
your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also in the background right now screaming, "It's not October yet. It doesn't matter until it's October."
Let's wait till October, then things will turn around. Anything else before we get out of here, guys?
Well, if you didn't join us on Sunday, thank you to everyone that came along on the watch along, hung out. We appreciate it. That's just watch along one of the season. We do those once a month. So, Cindy mentioned earlier the Patreon, tons of fun that we have in there, chatting a little bit about everything. MLS. We talk some Premier League trash. Talk about Atlanta United every day. We've had one poll a day in there. It seems the past couple of days. So those have been fun to talk about.
Patreon.com/Scars and Spikes.
Well, we're gonna have a hard decision on which game to have the watch along for. I mean, those are a couple of real good games. I mean, we got to see what the Orlando game's a spicy one there to watch.
Stay tuned. We'll share that information.
I never even looked. You mentioned the poll because you did your poll on the points, and I put the one out about where does Miranchuk need to be.
How did that do?
We've already discussed, opinions. Well, whatever. 18% said keep him at the 10. He'll magically work it out. 29% said left wing, where he's played with his national team and prior. 12% said the bench.
How many people voted, by the way?
17 in our Discord.
Oh, okay.
41% said an 8 or a 6. His skills fit the team better there, which is essentially what Henry's article was about.
Right. Is that your final thought?
That's my final thought.
That's your final thought.
My final thought.
Good final thought.
Oh, real quick. I see Edgar's here in the chat. Hey, Edgar. It always drives me crazy when he says this, but it makes me laugh too. He always calls New York the Pigeons.
Yeah.
He calls them the Pigeons. So
that's their nickname.
That's their nickname.
That's their nickname.
It's actually their nickname?
Yeah.
How
You didn't know that?
stupid.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know. I just thought he just called them. I thought it was something creative he did. Edgar, get new material, man. If you don't got your, you don't got your. I thought you were creating this stuff, and he's just.
Yeah.
I mean, it's admittedly like one of the worst mascots, and I'm not knocking on New York City.
Wait, is there a mascot I could pull up?
No,
or
there's
is it
no.
just bird poop all over the stadium?
Okay, maybe mascot was not the best word, but
There's no Polly the pigeon.
Nickname.
Parrot, but all right, whatever. I don't know, man. Like it's New York City, and then you have Gotham, and NW. Like, you could do something with Batman here. This is not hard, guys. Come on. Whatever.
Well, no, that's Gotham City.
Maybe when they move to the new stadium.
That's Gotham. That's not New York.
Well, it's modeled after New York.
What?
What?
What are you guys talking
about? Those are two different places.
I understand. In DC world, they're two different places, but it's modeled after New York.
Yes, it is.
Well, Metropolis, they just filmed the new Superman movie in Cleveland, so it's Metropolis, Cleveland.
There is a Metropolis in southern
apples
Illinois.
and oranges. There's a Metropolis, southern Illinois. You're right,
and it is all Superman.
Apples to pigeons.
Yep.
Henry,
the big apple and pigeons. We're never getting to Henry's final thoughts. We're never getting to them.
Final thoughts.
I'm going to filibuster this.
Final thoughts are that the Rooted in the Stripes is finally out, so we'll get out of here and y'all can go watch it.
That's my final thought too.
Well, the poll is how many F-bombs are there going to be? What is our guess here? How many swear words? How many things?
Under 7.5.
Well, no. Okay. We'll come back to this and we'll see. But how many beeped out words are there in this?
9.
Okay.
12.
12. Oh shit. Damn. Okay. Henry?
I'll go in between. I'll say 10.
I'm gonna say 6.
6? Going conservative.
There were 4 in the trailer alone.
Was there 4?
See, that's you gotta get this good stuff in the trailer.
We're a third of the way
7.
to my guess already. All right, so I feel solid about this. Derek said 20. Let's go.
We'll see.
It's gonna be like an episode of Jerry Springer.
8 points.
Beep beep beep. All right, shall I kill the music and get
Good
out of here
music. Long overdue.
and be done with this?
This was a genuine After Dark episode, and it's. Let's see.
It was all
Not
your
even
fault.
nighttime.
You set me up.
What?
All of you.
You were
set
the one
me
that
up.
started talking about things.
No,
Took the bait.
you all were slowly setting me up. You were just saying keywords, going, "Let's see what happens when you break Tommy. Let's
I mean, to be
get the
fair,
clown to come out."
there was a point when I was like, "Wow, I'm surprised he didn't say anything," but I didn't even give a cue. It might have also been partially because that was when Kyndra was about to be on.
Yeah.
But
I didn't even catch the words before that. It was all after she came on.
well,
Nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not
glad
doing
we
that.
was good entertainment for everybody.
Absolutely, and we're gonna win. I'm gonna have my beard.
Yes, Dylan 4-0. Let's go.
Thanks everyone for bearing with us.
Working your way through this.
Sorry
Right.
for Tommy. Sorry for Tommy's outburst.
Don't you apologize for me. Only Tina and my mom could do that.
Atlanta's definitely not putting a clip from this episode on the next Rooted in the Shroud.
Right.
A what?
A clip from this episode.
Okay. Yeah, end this.
I was definitely not putting that one. The one.
Right.